Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast where we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate the rise of Skywalker 1 minute at a time. I'm your host, Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
And I am also your host, and I am Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
And this must be minute number 3 of the rise of Skywalker. Minute number 3 starts off with Kylo Ren's Star Destroyer, the Steadfast, orbiting Mustafar. And it ends a minute later with Kylo Ren's TIE Whisper swooping amongst the red gunk of space.
Yeah, we dive into the action.
People.
Although it's interesting that we get like not quite a montage. It's like a slow motion, just kind of like an action piece that's not. I don't know. Have we had this before? I mean, we've had like the. I'm trying to think of like the montage of Anakin killing the native Tatooiners, but we don't often get kind of or maybe not even the Order 66. Like, when do we get kind of this kind of detached display? You know, like it's just we're watching something happen, but it's mostly in kind of is it slow motion, or is it parts of it are in slow motion?
Yeah,
but it's not. We're not really just kind of watching like cohesive narrative. Jokes aside, we're not watching cohesive narrative. Just kind of like we're not watching him do this. It's just kind of like it's like living exposition to a certain extent. That we're just like, oh well, he had to do this. You know, almost like.
We see him fighting a bunch of guys. We don't know why he's doing it, and then in the end,
right.
You kind of see he's after this artifact,
right?
This pyramid.
Like, so picture this. What if like if you took the opening, the whole idol sequence from Raiders, and just play that out like this? You just had it kind of like no dialogue, but you remove some of. Maybe not the best parts, but definitely parts that have been quoted a lot. But you know, that kind of a thing where it's just okay, it's just setting up something that doesn't really affect much of the later film, like kind of a tiny bit, but like it's just basically a setup to kind of get us going where we're going. So if you just kind of took that, condensed and truncated it a little bit, show it without dialogue, maybe add in some slow motion parts. It's that same kind of idea, serving the same purpose a little bit. It's like a little mini coda to get us on our way.
It feels slightly different because I feel like in Raiders. So you're talking about the whole temple sequence at the beginning of Raiders, or
yeah.
Not just when he whips the hand out of the bad guys. When you're talking about the whole everything from him. You know, when they're pulling the gun like they're going to ambush Indy, and then he turns around and he whips, and then you see Harrison Ford step into the light. That's the very beginning of that sequence. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
You're talking about the whole thing from arriving from the South American jungles all the way to him on the plane escaping. I think
so. I don't know. It was a hasty decision to bring this up. You know what's going to make you like this movie better? If I compare it to Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? That'll make.
Yeah.
But or that same kind of a thing where we have a little, you know, it's almost like a cold open, except we already had the crawl.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like if this were a different style of movie, if this weren't a Star Wars movie where we have the crawl telling you what's going on here, and if we had a traditional credit sequence, like this opening part, would probably be before the credits. You would start off with Kylo Ren in this battle, and that would end up with him.
Maybe when he's holding the holocron in his hand, then that's when the title
and then kind of
appear.
Zoom into that, and then the credits would all be like, hopefully we'd get this kind of like, you know, stylized, like, you know.
Maybe silhouettes of women dancing around guns and stuff.
That's what I'm thinking, where they're kind of like, and then it resolves back into the image of the kind of dot going across the thing, and then we pull back out, and it's still in the thing, but this time the thing is wedged into his
I like it.
TIE fighter.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
But file that away with a different idea don't worry.
Okay.
I got it. I'm on it.
Yes, we're seeing Kylo Ren. He's in the
Yes.
forests of Corvax Fen,
He's in the Corvax Fen,
and he's fighting the Alsmec of Winzit.
the Elasmec colonists. Yeah, the Elasmec of Winzit, who were they're a Sith cult.
Mm-hmm.
And they they've been into this the whole time. Like they've been keeping the fire alive.
Yeah, they colonized Mustafar after the death of Darth Vader. I guess presumably because this is where Darth Vader lived.
Right.
It's an interesting choice. Like you said, they don't specify in the movie that it's Mustafar. You have to go to outside sources to find that out. It's weird. It's interesting, like why they picked Mustafar as the opening location.
Yeah. Why pick Mustafar and then not hammer it home? Not have it be, okay, here's the castle. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I don't know. It's like, it's like if you show something happening at Disneyland and it's just like Frontierland or something like that and you don't show the castle. This is like, it's an odd choice to pick to have it be here, especially, like it doesn't need to be. It makes sense logically. Okay, the Sith cultists would be in charge of this Sith Wayfinder.
Yeah.
And sure, Sith loyalists, Sith cult would have set up camp on Mustafar. That also makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then, like to get there, have this little sequence, and not show the castle seems illogical to me. But also, it doesn't matter. So I'm kind of glad because I don't like the castle. So I'm okay that it's Mustafar. I'm glad we didn't have to like hammer it home that it's Mustafar.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm of two minds here. Like I think it's an odd choice to go there and not go there.
Yeah.
But also like it doesn't. I'm for the overall viewing experience. I'm kind of glad because I feel like maybe I would have been distracted by that, and it doesn't affect what's going on.
Right. Yeah. It reminds me of in the movie The Royal Tenenbaums.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in the commentary. I think it's in their commentary they're making of or something. There's one shot in the movie where Gene Hackman and another actor are down at the southern end of Manhattan, where you can see the Statue of Liberty. And they had to get there. They had to film at like 6 o'clock in the morning because otherwise it would be filled with tourists. And they positioned it in such a way where Gene Hackman is in between. You can't see the Statue of Liberty because Gene Hackman is standing in front of it. He specifically filmed in a way where he's blocking the view of the Statue of Liberty.
Right.
And Gene Hackman was furious about this because he was like, why did we get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to come here? And the whole point is you can see the Statue of Liberty and I'm standing. You can't even see. I could be standing anywhere. It doesn't make any difference. So anyway, it kind of reminds me of it's almost like they should have had Kylo Ren like just blocking it's just behind Kylo Ren.
Right. Or that would have been like, it's a little gimmicky too, though, if they would have, like him like holding it up and then when he like steps away, you see behind him was the castle. So you find out where they are.
Yeah. Or the wreckage.
But then we don't get the cool kind of like,
I
really like the transition. So, first of all, during the fight, we got a cool move. Cool move alert.
Uh-huh. Well, this fight better has some cool moves because there's really no reason for it other than cool moves. So, yeah.
We don't know where he is. We don't know who he's killing, but he does a cool fire slide.
Yeah.
Where he does his little like Kylo Ren kind of like,
hotter than the electric slide. It's the fire slide.
Fire slide. It's like the opposite of a water slide. But yeah, he does his kind of, like his low battle stance with like, legs kind of out, but he's doing it kind of like across like a field of lava, whatever, and there's bursts of little things are catching on fire as they go up in the air, and it's a cool little slide move. And
Adam Driver apparently does all his own stunts in this, all his own sword work, laser sword work.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't quite get. Obviously, we don't learn anything. Like, we don't know these guys are Sith Lords. That's another thing. Or Sith cultists and stuff. Because it seems kind of muddled to me that why would he be fighting them
Right.
if they're also Sith cultists? I know he's not a Sith, but you think they would be on the same side.
Not a Sith. Yeah.
You think he'd be like, hey, I'm trying to find Palpatine. I'm like, oh, cool. We have the thing right here. Why don't you go ahead and
Palpatine,
take
we
it?
love Palpatine.
Yeah. Maybe he just didn't know. Maybe he didn't talk. And then at the end, he realized, oh, wait, these are all Sith cultists. But
Right.
it's a really cool fight. I'll give it. It evokes to me the best of the sequel era laser sword duels. Not duel, but battle, which is, of course, the Last Jedi fight.
Oh, yeah, I guess that we get a similar kind of a thing there.
Yeah.
We get a
combination
slightly
of
detached, kind of playing with time a tiny bit in terms of
slow-mo with other, so.
Yeah, so it is.
Not a single stormtrooper survives this battle.
Nobody does except for Kylo Ren.
Yeah, which makes me think he probably killed the stormtroopers too. He just got caught up in the moment and killed them all too.
Yeah.
So, and he finds the Sith Wayfinder. This is the introduction of Wayfinders to the cinematic universe. I'm sure they appeared in Clone Wars. Yeah.
I do not love the Sith Wayfinder because I do not like holocrons or any of that, like magical devices,
Yeah.
I like it in Harry Potter. I don't, I like it in, sure, if it's in a magical fantasy thing, don't want it in here. And don't everybody yell at me that this is a fantasy. It just happens to be set in space. No. It's not space opera. It's got different rules.
Right. And they don't use it too much in this movie.
No, that's luckily it doesn't become a huge.
Only like 4 or 5 of the plot points revolve around magical items that they're hunting. So.
Well, I think this is the only magical one, right?
Right. Well, I don't know if you count the thing that Rey holds up to look at the.
No, the dagger is purely that's gimmicky. That's
scientific instrument.
Yeah. But no, I do not love the Sith Wayfinder, but I really like the design of the I love this kind of economy of storytelling here in that we find it. I love the design of it, the contrast of the green versus all the red fire lava stuff going on. You get the green with the dots kind of going on it. Plus, I love stuff, green glass stuff. I'm a sucker for that.
Mm-hmm.
And we know already, we know what Kylo Ren's ship looks like. We've seen it before. So to have him look at the Wayfinder, and we just see the map with a dot moving across it, and then we follow that dot, and then it becomes that TIE fighter flying through the air. We know that we've jumped forward and he's found this map and he's using it as a map, and that the using existing things that have already been established to come back and quickly tell us that story bit without exposition, without anything else. It is economical, and I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, it's a good bit of storytelling.
Yeah, and he's taken the ship, and he's checking it twice. No, he's taken the ship, and he's to get to Exegol. He has to go. There's the. Did you write down the 4 names of the?
No.
We've got the Crimson Nebula that surrounds Exegol, has 3 other names. And I'll read them in, I don't know,
release order.
Maybe reverse order of my interest. One is the Ship Eater, which seems like that could be any nebula.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a very dense nebula that is hard to navigate, which is why you need the Sith Wayfinder to get through it to get to Exegol. Kind of a little bit of a throwback to the Maw, to the
Kessel Run.
Kessel Run.
Yeah. So Ship Eater.
The Ship Eater, not so much. Slightly more interesting, the Blood Net.
The Blood Net.
The Blood Net, which is kind of like a poetic, like descriptive.
Yeah, I think it's Blood Dot
of what it is. Well, now I have to buy. I can't buy that. I'm saying like the
Blood Net. Okay, I'll go. That is better than Ship Eater.
The Blood Net. Although the Crimson Nebula, let's mix that in there too. That's just the flat out like description of.
That's the official
slightly.
name for it.
Yeah, it's more like the Red Nebula. Like, let's be a little bit more, tiny bit more poetic than that. The
Yeah.
Crimson Nebula.
Yeah.
So I think the Crimson
figure,
Nebula.
the Galaxy must have a lot of red nebulae in it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Anyway.
But-
So maybe the one was like the Scarlet Nebula, the
Right,
Umber,
right.
and this
The
was
Cardinal
Crimson
Nebula.
Cardinal Nebula.
Cardinal Nebula.
Rose, tomato.
Never- What was the one? Carmine Red. That was one that I always
the
liked.
Carmine Nebula.
The Carmine Nebula. from Laverne and Shirley. Um,
Too soon.
but I think my favorite name for it is the Red Honeycomb Zone.
That is that's the least threatening, definitely.
Right. It does. Yeah, it does sound like a euphemism of sorts, where it's like,
That's like the
It's
real
like-
estate agents who owned the Crimson Nebula or the Ship Eater were like, we gotta call it something besides the Ship Eater. No one's or the Blood. What was it? The Blood Nebula?
Yeah,
the Blood.
the Blood Net, the Ship Eater.
Yeah, none of these are gonna sell you any condos, but Red Honeycomb, that sounds homey.
Right? It does sound like it's like, hey, Kyla, where are you going? I'm going to hit the Red Honeycomb Zone. Like,
Well, that
you
sounds
know,
like that sounds like a
yeah.
euphemism or something.
right, right.
Like, go tap that
Um,
Red Honeycomb Zone.
Right. Yeah, I think that's definitely the most interesting of them, the Red
Yeah.
Honeycomb Zone. But
Right.
also then that opens up a bag of, or a can of bees, I guess, because it's like that means there's honeycombs, which means there are bees and there's honey,
Yeah.
which I guess that we'll pin that topic for more food in Star Wars letters, but
Right. Yeah, honey.
But,
We gotta look up.
honey, yeah. It's just like honey.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, this leads apparently if you can successfully navigate the Red Honeycomb Zone. The Red Honeycomb Zone is for loading and unloading of passengers only. But if you can successfully navigate the Red Honeycomb Zone, you can get to Exegol.
Take the first exit off the Honeycomb Zone to get to Exegol.
To exit Gall.
Exit 7 off the Crimson Dynamo Highway.
But yeah, and that's so as we leave off this minute, him kind of finding his
Yeah.
way. Did you do a to and a from for this minute? Did we let out what we're doing? I don't remember.
Yes, it starts off
Okay.
with Kylo Ren's Star Destroyer, the Steadfast, and it ends with
right,
Kylo Ren's
Steadfast.
swooping among the red gunk. Classic J.J. Abrams thing. He loves big red goo. That's his trademark
That's
thing.
that's the Carmine Nebula. It's a big red goo.
The big red goo. I like don't often comment on the music. For Sandy, this
Right.
is for you. I love the music in this portion. It's for once I recognize it as something distinct from any other previous Star Wars music that I recognize.
Strange that I have not. What's
so,
going on in this?
I don't remember what it is. It's like a dun, 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 kind of like a
Right.
on the hunt
Yeah.
for something, kind of like a variation on the snow speeders going over Hoth, kind of a vibe to it. But
Right.
yeah. I guess as of this recording, I can assume Chrysanthe's doing Star Wars Music Minute for this movie,
All right.
but
Cool.
people should check it out.
Yes, Star Wars Music Minute. I think we set up starwarsminute.com/SMM,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Star Wars Music Minute. But yes, our friend Chrysanthe has been doing kind of breaking down the week of minutes that we do. And they're doing a week of one episode covering the 5 minutes of show,
Which we thought
at
of
the
that.
same time, and doing just talking about the music and the sound, and so worth checking out. Absolutely, it's a whole nother wrinkle.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then that kind of continues. This isn't my episode to wrap up.
Yeah. I mentioned this, I think, in one of the earlier minutes, but Palpatine loves a convoluted plan that involves people following convoluted steps. Like in Attack of the Clones, he didn't just tell Obi-Wan, "Oh, maybe you should go search for maybe there's a clone army out there that we can use." He had to have someone leave a dart that would lead him to the Camino cloners. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
He wants them to find the clone army so that they will use it. But he can't just say, "Oh, go." He can't just send him a telegram and say, "Someone should go check out the Camino system." He has to make them earn it. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Earn it goes to camp.
Yes.
I guess a part of it is that like plausible deniability with the, like he doesn't want to be like, he doesn't want it to be like, oh, how do we get this clone army? Oh, Palpatine sent me an email. Like, you know, he has to be like, there has to be steps of removal.
Yeah.
For him, but this is for somebody to find him. Although I guess this is kind of earning it. That like if anybody, he knows basically that because Kylo Ren is obsessed with Darth Vader, he will go find the stuff on his castle planet.
Yeah, we don't know how he knows that the Wayfinder is on Exegol.
Wait, how he knows also?
No, we don't know how Kylo Ren knows that the that the Wayfinder is on Mustafar. Presumably, he found some other object earlier, which directed him to. He spent the past year following up all these clues, and now we're just getting him at the tail end of
each
his.
He thought he had it, and turns out he opened it up, and there was hollow inside, and there was a little note that said, next look on.
Yeah, like a scavenger hunt. He loves a scavenger hunt, Palpatine.
Totally. He's a games master, like Leon.
Yeah. It's funny to think that like he actually he set this plan in motion like decades ago, but no one has ever been able to find any of the clues. So now he just has to be like, "Hey, everyone, I'm out here. Come find me."
Right? Yeah, that's what the broadcast was. It was just like, "Okay, Palpatine back from the dead. If somebody should look into that, right?" Oh,
yeah, totally.
Can't believe it took them this long.
He had all those other clues laid out, and no one ever stumbled across them.
Right?
Idiots.
Although I love this idea as Palpatine as a games master is totally feeds into our alternate Star War idea, because he would have set it all up, but then it set up from before when he was alive, but now he's actually dead. But the recording.
Now I think about it is, I guess Ready Player One is also a similar type of setup where it's like a bunch of people are competing trying to find this secret prize, which will get them a big prize. So anyway, I guess that will wrap up minute number 3 of The Rise of Skywalker. And
Tros Trace.
Tros Trace, the bounty hunter. We've been talking about Rise of Skywalker, but we also want to hear from you. Yes, that's right. We're bringing back 8-Day Greedo, the telephone hotline you can call. Leave us your thoughts on anything coming up on you got carte blanche now. You got the whole movie ahead of you. Why don't you let us know, what do you think of Babu Frick? What do you think of what was Kerry Russell's character? Lori Bliss. Zori Bliss, not Lori.
Zori Bliss. No.
Or tell us if you had an amusing time seeing the movie for the first time. Anything. Keep it short, keep it funny. 8-Day Greedo, and then join us tomorrow for another Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.